This is Greg coming from Crystal Lake in northern Michigan. This is going to be a short tutorial on launching, some sailing techniques, and landing using a HOBIE 16. I'll throw in some tips and modifications I've done to the HOBIE along the way also. Crystal Lake is basically 2 miles wide and 8 miles long, and I use about a third of it most of the time. That will give you some idea about how much room a HOBIE 16 size catamaran needs to do long speed runs and not having to tack all the time. Okay, so the beach I am on is all sand right into the water. I have previously raked it to get all hidden rocks out of it. They can tear up the bottom of the hulls without you knowing it. I also use what I call hull skis to protect the hull bottoms and make it easier to pull the HOBIE around on the sand. I'll talk about them later. Right now I'm starting a free program on my iPhone called GPS Measure. It records max speed, distance, time, and a couple of other things. The iPhone goes into a wet bag and I carabiner it to the webbing of the trampoline right behind the back of the mast. That way it's totally out of the way and stays put even if the catamaran flips over. That blue box right below the mast is attached to a pole which is carabinered to the underside of the trampoline. I use it as a righting device if the catamaran decides it wants to tip over. All right, we're going 20, 25. Now I'm walking out to my buoy, which will hold the catamaran in place so I can drop and lock the rudders and remove the hull skis. You would want to anchor the buoy in about chest deep water so the rudders don't bottom out as the catamaran rocks up and down. Now I'm starting to remove the hull skis, one on each side. I purchased one piece of 4-inch diameter by 5-foot long Schedule 40 PVC drainage pipe for $20 at the time of this recording. I then used a jigsaw and cut it in half along its length. I drilled 4 holes in each half and attached 3mm rope. This shows how one piece attaches to the hull. You will notice the black rope goes around the hull and to the outside of the front and back trampoline pylons. That way the piece of pipe will be held in position and not slide down the hull when you pull the catamaran along sand, grass, or whatever. You will also notice that I tied a loop in the rope above the water line so it is easier to tie off the line at that point. This is another view that shows how much more the pipe displaces the sand. So it also makes it easier to pull the catamaran around. I attach that ski to the buoy. Then I'll attach the other ski so they will be there when I get back from sailing. On the rudder crossbar that the tiller attaches to, I made a lasso which will hold the rudders straight when I'm ready to launch. You'll see why in a minute. The red arrow is pointing to the loop of rope which is lassoed to the crossbar. Then I use a bungee with hooks on it to attach the loop to. Now I'll unattach from the buoy and move to the side so the buoy and the skis don't get tangled in the rudders as I move forward. Now I notice which way the wind is coming from by looking at a neighbor's flag. In this case, the wind is blowing directly towards or onto the shore. If the wind is blowing offshore, that is not preferred, and I do not sail on those days. Now I'm getting ready to launch. The boat right now is directly into the wind, and I'm gradually going to push it a little off to the side to present the wind into the sails, then get on board. The lasso that holds the rudder straight is making the boat go straight out at this time, which is good because I do not have the tiller in my hand yet. I learned this the hard way once. When I was getting on, the rudders were pushed all the way to one side, so the boat made a hard turn and was heading towards a dock. So I had to hustle getting on and then getting to the tiller to steer away. It was close, but I didn't hit anything. Now I'm detaching the bungee hook off of my lasso, so this frees up the full movement of the rudders. So I'm going to turn my hat around so I don't lose it to a gust of wind. And we're now going to do a tack to the right or starboard direction. You want to do a close reach or aiming about 45 degrees off from directly into the wind. Leave the jib alone for now and pull the main sail tight. You want a little speed to be able to make a wide turn. Catamarans can only make wide turns. Now when ready, let the main sheet go and turn the rudders to a maximum of 45 degrees and hold them there while you pass the tiller around the main sheet. You can see that the boat continues to turn all this time, and the wind will eventually blow on the back side of the still tight jib. Leaving the jib tight helps to guarantee that you finish the turn. Now I'm going to hook up to my harness and then uncleat the jib and move it to the other side. And then pull the main sheet in and you're off. Okay, so we're going to do another starboard turn. How fast do you go? Basically, the stronger the wind is, the faster you have to go to accomplish a turn. So I'm going to tighten the main now, bring it tight, and get a little speed. I don't have the speed yet. Turn 45 degrees maximum. Bring the tiller around, holding the rudders in that position. And you can see I left the jib alone. Boat came around. Now uncleat the jib and move it to the other side. And I'll bring the main in and we're off again. Now you'll notice my jib has never hung up on the mast as it goes from side to side. And on this day the wind was not very strong, blowing at only 8 to 10 miles an hour. And what I did was I cut all 4 jib battens down. So on this picture, the sail is red and the jib batten cap is white. I cut the battens so that the hole in the batten cap is sticking about 1/2 to 1/4 inch away from the leech of the jib. That way I can still get the wrinkles out of the batten pocket when I rope it tight. Okay, we're going to do another tack to the right. I got the speed in the right heading. So I turn the rudders 45 degrees. Bring the tiller around. It's pretty much finished its turn. So now I can uncleat the jib and bring it in on the other side. Now sailboats have right of way, but in this case I didn't get it. So all I did was just let the mainsail out and the boat practically comes to a stop. I kept my heading. You just let it go past. No big deal. And when he goes past, then I pull the main back in. You can see how close it is because I'm just about ready to hit his wake right there. So with the wind blowing at 10 miles an hour and gusts up to 18, I was able to have a max speed for the day of 15 knots. And for the beginners out there, this is what 15 knots looks like. That hum you hear is coming from the rudders vibrating. I don't have EPO 3 rudders, so these rudders start to hum at around 13 knots. The hollow hulls make the hum more pronounced. So now we are going to talk about landing. The wind is still blowing onshore. I have to get to the buoy, which is between two docks. Now there are 3 points of sail: close reach, beam reach, and broad reach. In irons is not a point of sail, but if your boat gets pointed right into the wind, you're not going anywhere. We call that in irons. If anything, you're going to start to go backwards. It can take a while for the boat to get out of irons, and if you're racing, you could lose a lot of time trying to get out. A close reach is about 45 degrees over from directly into the wind. All the tacks I've showed you today started in a close reach. A beam reach is 90 degrees or perpendicular to the wind. This is where you get the most speed. When I was doing the 15 knots, that was on a beam reach. And a broad reach is going downwind at 135 degrees, measured from directly into the wind, or 45 degrees from directly downwind. All these angles I'm talking about are the most efficient for a catamaran. Other types of boats will behave differently. The course I'm about to do has 2 broad reaches and 1 tack of 180 degrees. When I get to the buoy, I will flare into the wind, into irons. That way the boat will stop. I can jump off and grab the front to keep the boat facing into the wind. Now where it says video start here is where we will pick up from. Okay, I finished the 180 degree turn. And now you'll notice I'm leaving the sails loose. I want to come in slow, so the jib is loose and the main is loose. Now you can see the flag and that Zodiac boat right there. And the buoy is just in front of that. Okay, you can see the buoy now. Right there. And when I get to it, I'm gonna flare. You see, I've uncleated the jib, the main, and the traveler. You want everything loose. Jump off, grab the front and keep the boat facing into the wind. Okay, now we just kind of do the reverse of what we did when we launched. So I put the rudders up and lock them. And then I put both hull skis on. All right, and then I go to the front of the boat and disconnect it from the buoy, and then walk in towards shore, always keeping the front of the boat into the wind. This is a little to the side, but mainly into the wind. I hope you learned something new from this video. Until next time, safe sailing.